You've no doubt seen the announcement, but if you haven't, I'll catch you up and answer all your questions. Gavin Verhey, Principal Magic Designer at Wizards of the Coast, announced the Commander Format panel. And as you may have seen, I am a part of that panel. I'm very honoured to be offered a chance to represent you all and make sure your voices are heard when discussing and shaping the format we all know and love, Commander. So what is the Commander Format panel? Effectively, it's a group of 18 people from around the world covering the entire Commander spectrum, as well as including some previous members of the Commander Rules Committee. You'll find there's everyone from players who enjoy more casual games of Commander and want to show off things like their Australian themed deck, to those playing CDH, competitive Commander, and everything in between. For your info, I personally sit somewhere in the middle, as I'm often playing with new players, so I generally play lower powered games. However, I do have plenty of power level 7 decks and a CDH deck for those looking for a final boss fight. The panel will be working with the team at Wizards to provide our feedback as well as community feedback to help craft and shape the Commander format, with the end goal of creating a better experience for everyone. As Gavin mentioned, every major Commander announcement will be run past us on the panel first. I do think it's important to point out though that at the end of the day, this panel is effectively an advisory board. No matter what agreement the panel might come to, Wizards of the Coast will be making the final decisions on matters. I'd like to think that if an overwhelming majority of the panel voted for or against something, Wizards would follow our decision, but only time will tell. Now this leads nicely into the next thing I wanted to clear up, the talk around the non-disparagement agreement that has been brought up by a number of sources. I think first, the easy thing to do is to read Gavin's note around this in the announcement. I've also told members of the panel they're not just welcome to express their own opinions publicly, but are encouraged to. They're here because they're community members and it's important they can be honest. They shouldn't feel beholden to back up whatever decisions the panel or Wizards of the Coast make. I don't want them to have to act or speak inauthentically. Stating their own opinions in public is totally fine. Disagreeing loudly is totally fine. Loudly and publicly taking issues with our decisions is totally fine. Since Wizards makes the final call, if there's any frustrations, it should be placed on us at Wizards, not on members of this panel. And many of the members of the panel are content creators, and it's important to both us and them that they feel free to disagree and offer different opinions on their own channels. To reiterate, I'm allowed to publicly disagree with Wizards of the Coast, both with what they do with the Commander format and anything else the company does. For example, I'm allowed to publicly state, I think the current Secret Lair model hurts the overall community and does nothing but benefit scalpers. I think there are way too many releases and that product fatigue is really bad currently. And I think that what happened with the Pinkertons incident is terrible and could have been handled better. Fellow panelist Rachel Weeks put it best. The clause in the contract we signed only mandates we don't use privileged information to disparage WotC. If we provide critique or dissent, it can only be supported by public information. And while we're on this clarity train, I think it's important to make clear too, as the article mentions, I'm being paid for this role. And with that, there are some expectations of me. I'm expected to take part in regular discussions and provide feedback on current topics we've decided to focus on, and most importantly, represent community interests and needs, which would include things like the banned list and overall philosophical guidance for players. I've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth mentioning again, but this YouTube channel and now this Commander format panel gig are both side hustles for me, part-time jobs. They are not my primary source of income, and I'm not beholden to this channel or Wizards of the Coast. If they were to be deleted or taken away from me tomorrow, financially, my life would continue as normal. All that to say is that you can look forward to hearing my honest opinions on things, both positive and negative. So what can you expect from me going forward? Well, outside of reaching out to my local communities, my old ones in New Zealand, and my other content creator friends from around the world, you can expect me to be asking for your feedback from all of you, as well as keeping you up to date on things as and when I'm allowed to talk about it. And before anyone asks, no, I will not be leaking or even hinting at any potential bans or unbans. Let's quickly jump to some questions. Wait, so they're just reinventing the RC? Am I reading that right? Yes, the Commander format panel is effectively the new RC. However, this time around, Wizards will have the final say in things. As I mentioned, I'll be very curious to see how our voices will be heard. Did these guys sign their rights to criticize WotC to get the position? At least they should be paid, right? As I mentioned, just like before joining the Commander format panel, I'm not only allowed, I'm encouraged to speak my honest opinion on how Wizards handles things. I'm of course not allowed to comment on things that are private and confidential for obvious reasons. I think people really want to know is if we can trust what is being said by the people in the new group. Look, I think it's safe to say that this group does have Commander's best interest in mind. Outside of telling you that I will speak truthfully and honestly, I hope you can at least see and hear my honest passion for this game in the work that I have produced so far. Do Attack on Cardboard, Bandit, and Deco have real names? Yes. Now remember, the process and changes to this format isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to be a slow and steady race, that's for sure. I want to make this format enjoyable for everyone, no matter your skill level and what fun level you want to play at. I hope you'll all join me on this journey, as it's going to be one we'll be taking together. Here's hoping for a good one. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, because if you don't, I'll ban your favorite card. This is a joke. I repeat, this is a joke. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.